live thing. Hi, this is Doc Foreman. We have Dr. Bart Andrews. We're so excited that you're with us today for SPSM, hashtag SPSM, the Suicide Prevention Social Media Chat. I'm really excited today. This is, like we say, we want to do collabs with our audience. And I'm going to take a minute just to talk about that. We love it when people pitch us ideas. And in the last year, we've had a lot more people pitching us ideas. And we've done what we can to accommodate that. So I think this idea was pitched several months ago by Chris Maxwell, who is a regular in the Twitter chats. It's fabulous. And several people seconded it. They were asking, like, what do you pack in your social media bag for conferences? I thought this is a really good chance to sort of talk about, you know, 2016, the year of live streaming. If you want to do some live streaming, if you need equipment that travels well, that's affordable, that works with your tech, like, here are some things that I use. Dr. Bart Andrews, and I don't ever know, there's a way that it works as here. Dr. Mike Sevilla may or may not jump in. I'm not sure what's going on with that. We're sort of struggling with the tech setup today. But we're going to show you a little bit about what we do to be prepared to do live streaming at conferences, tweeting, Instagram, Snapchat, things like that. Just like, what kinds of equipment would you want to carry around? And I'm a lady carrying things around in a lady bag. Bart's going to show you something like, if you prefer not to do something so feminine, what you might do instead. Before we move on to Dr. Bart Andrews, who's going to show you his, just a quick note about collaborations. Thank you so much for all the ideas that you guys have been pitching us. Just to remind people, when we started doing SPSM, we really focus on suicide prevention and social media technology innovation expertise, and then we curate it. There are several people who have great project ideas in the suicide prevention sphere that don't necessarily fit with the media tech innovation angle that we have really stuck to, I think, by and large, for the show. That is okay. We're not maybe going to do them on the main channel, but do remember that SPSM, the channel has really expanded. And so we're going to have hashtag SPSM Summer, where there are going to be lots of cool suicide prevention stuff that won't necessarily be social media focused, lots of neat things that people are wanting to try. We have SPSM Unpacked following us. They are following us, which is sort of the review of the review, which is honestly with Chris Maxwell and with Amelia and with all sorts of fabulous people. And then we're totally willing to help you develop projects that might not happen during the same time slot, but that are suicide prevention oriented or that are of interest to our community. Just let us know. We may not be able to feature you on the 9 a.m. or the 9 p.m. Central slot or like the official chat, but we have multiple other ways to do projects. Let us know and we'll see what we can pitch. And without any further ado, Dr. Bart Andrews.
And good evening, everybody. What a treat to be here. So excited about the show. And one of the things I'm really excited about is we get to see what's in April's bag, which I think we've all been talking about a lot this week. There's been a lot of speculation about what might be in her bag. And tonight we get to see it. And I think we've been talking about packing. And after the show, we will unpack on SPSM. We'll unpack. So it's a good, my bag is not as organized. My bag's a bit of a clutter bag, but I do have a lot of stuff in my bag. If you've heard different, it's not true. I am at Bart Andrews. I am Vice President of Clinical Practice and Evaluation at a groovy crisis organization in St. Louis, Missouri, Behavioral Health Response. You can reach me on Twitter at Bart Andrews. I'm so lucky to have my real name for my Twitter handle. It's a treat. I'm grateful. And I'm excited about the show. And I want to, April Foreman, Dr. April Foreman.
At Doc Foreman, and my lower third won't go on tonight. And I've tried hitting the button. I'm going to try again and see if I can make it come on. But I don't know what's up. So instead of rebootsies, we've already done that once tonight. We're going to do this. So I want to talk a little bit about bags. Like, some of you have seen me carry around different size bags at conferences, and usually what happens is that someone will grab my bag and their arm will like sort of drop a foot because the bag is a little bit denser than average. And I will admit, like, I have one bag that the bag itself is pretty heavy duty and it's got like metal studs all over the bottom, like to protect the bottom of the thing. But mostly my bag is really heavy because I pretty regularly carry around everything that I would need if I wanted to do any kind of live video at any moment. And I admit this is pretty nerdy. But I want to talk a little bit about some things that I choose. I'm going to do a couple of products first before I get into the main bag, and then I have a bonus second bag for you. These are sort of bags I carry within my main bag. These are like the little social media bags, and I have the camera ready. We're going to do a little bonus camera ready makeup kit. Like if you're really wanting, you know, to manage the shadow and manage how you look. A couple of small items. I recently got this for my laptop, and so some of you saw me carrying this at hashtag AAS16. I did have something that was a computer bag that looked like a manila envelope that slipped in and out of my purse at the airport that I totally loved, and I used until, because I don't really want my laptop to take up very much room. And I used that until it was just toasted. And I used it just for, I think since like 2011 or 12. And so, you know, it had been used up. What I like about this is that the laptop fits in pretty easily. And then and I think I still have like my boarding passes and things fit here pretty easily. So when I'm carrying it on, and then a couple of little things. This is exactly sized for an iPhone, and I'll show you how this works. This iPhone's going to get some work today. My personal style, and then we'll switch to Bart. My personal style is for things that are designed exactly to do the job you want done and to multifunction if they can. And so I like that this can carry like my phone, and I can slip in, you know, like a couple of pieces of paper, a legal pad, a pen, you know, everything that I might need to take notes and sit on my lap while I'm conference tweeting. And so if I can pull this out and take this to do just very, very basic conference tweeting, like, you know, my phone is my hotspot, you know, something to, you know, a cord to plug things in, headphones if I am needing to live stream something, a pen to jot notes, and the phone is right back here. And that is, I'm really liking this. I realize a little intense about the organization. Bart, I'm going to switch over to you. Where do you keep your laptop or your, you just got a new Mac, right?
So yeah, so I've got a couple of different backpacks that I use, and I'm not going to bring my backpack in. I do a couple, but I've got a backpack that is a laptop ready backpack. You know who has a cool, super cool backpack is Sarah Burns has a backpack that I'm not making this up. I saw this. This was very cool. She's got a backpack that's it is TSA ready, and you can literally zip the computer compartment open, and it lays out flat, and you don't need to take your laptop out of your backpack, and it just runs through the scanner.
That is cool.
So that's very sweet. So, but I've got a digital equipment backpack, so it's got all kinds of pockets. But what I learned is that I've just got, this is like a rock climbing bag. I used to actually be a rock climber, not a very good one. That's why I don't do it anymore.
Do you have the shoes that squish your feet into impossible smallness?
Yeah. So that's a side story. But my friend Rich, who's like a major rock climbing maven, convinced me to get shoes that were like 3 sizes too small. And now I've got like the feet of those women in China that have their feet bound, and it causes permanent damage. That's kind of what happened to me.
Oh my God.
So, but like so this is just like kind of but like I keep an extra camera. Look, see. You never know when you're going to need an extra camera, so I keep an extra camera. But one of the things if you don't have
spying on women in the showers in the next room. That's what when I see those little cameras, I think
First of all, April, you know that my probation officer watches this show, and we talk about that. He doesn't get the humor. He does not get the humor. Wayne is not a funny guy. Okay, now if you don't have one of these, this is the Anker. If you don't have an Anker, you've got to get an Anker. This is the best backup battery that you can buy.
Oh.
This is the Anker. This Anker, you get about 30 hours, 24 to 30 hours of juice out of this. I can recharge my iPhone 3 to 4 times on this. It will charge my iPad, and I'm
gonna have to show you what I have, because I did have a bigger battery that would do 2.5 charges to my phone, and it died at AAS 16. And so I had to get a new one. So I've got something else. So you like the Anker? How much can you find it? Where did you get it?
I got it on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them all kinds of. But I got mine on Amazon. But
About how much? Do you remember?
I want to say it was 100-ish, 80. I don't remember. I'm not good with prices. But this,
Okay.
It's got two charging ports, right? And also, if I can figure it out, where is it? The other thing that I just love, so you can do two, and you can charge multiple devices, and it lasts forever. And you can charge multiple devices, and it'll charge your phone 3-4 times. I've charged my phone actually 3 or 4 times. And this way, particularly if you're not near an outlet and this thing is charged fully, you're really good for the day. You can run all day on this thing and do really well. So I'm very proud of my Anker.
So this is the bag that I put all of my other, if my laptop and my phone are in here, and then the rest of my tech is in this little thing right here. And I got a new battery, and this was $9.99 in Prime shipping. And this is probably more bag than it needed to come in. And this is called a lipstick charger, which I'm totally down with.
That looks like an Anker.
Is it? Oh my God, is it?
It's
I didn't know that, Bart.
It's an Anker.
I didn't pay attention
Anker's
to the
best brand. You got to get an Anker. Anker's the best brand.
So this was $10, and this is about a charge and a half, and it's the size of a lipstick. And so also what I liked is, the ability to slip it into this or hold it in my laps. A lot of times I'm sort of balancing that and a gigantic coffee. And so the trick about this one is remembering that you have to push, I don't know if you guys can see you have to push the button.
Yeah.
But I have been testing this out. This is new. I haven't got a chance to travel with this yet. And I hear like these have batteries that can like suddenly catch on fire, Bart, or something. I'm reading like horror stories about how you pack these. Like, don't put this in your checked bag on the plane, so the plane will go down in flames or whatever.
Mine turns into a flashlight. Does yours turn into a flashlight?
No, I carry a couple of flashlights, and I'll talk about that for separate accessories. But this little bag holds the cord and holds this, and this is fabulous. I said I would talk about a couple of separate items that are loose that I tend to carry everywhere I go. I'm going to talk about this for just a second. Now, if you're a lady with hair or a gentleman with hair, these are great, and they have like silicone in the middle so they don't slip. I actually always carry a couple of these when I'm doing social media, because I use these to clip cords together or clip cords out of the way. If I'm plugged in or, a little distance and I don't want a big tangle of cords, I don't want to trip people, or to clip cords to handles of things, I find that a couple of loose jaw clips are fabulous for this. And I'm going to show you another couple things I use for cord mess. Speaking of lights, if you are doing a touch-up and the truth is if it's going to be on video or if it's going to be a picture, like you want to sort of pull it together. Check this out. Speaking of lights.
Ooh, fancy.
This has a light in it, and it sort of manages the chapped lips, lets you do a really quick check, and has a light. I don't hate that. I will say you always need a pen. Like, this is a thing that I find people like suddenly find that they don't have, and if you can find a good place to stash an ink pen, and I'll show you why. There are a couple things that I think are really important that you do as a part of your social media that you need to be writing. And then let me tell you, this has saved my life and the lives of people I care about multiple times. Get yourself a little laundry stick. The last thing you want to do is like be streaming yourself or someone else, and they've got a little, those conferences can be messy. Like, you just want to tidy up because you're about ready to sort of be on the air. And I pretty much don't go anywhere without a 3-pack of these. They're wonderful. So you have a battery. What else do you have?
Well, this is, and I'm really bummed out because you don't have one of these, but now the writing is coming off. This is my NatCon 16. I got this for live tweeting at NatCon. Sean has one, but Sean's is in better shape than mine. Mine's getting chewed up, but here's a little mini backup.
Can you tweet out a picture?
He did earlier. And Mike Sevilla just tweeted out a great link to all the Anker products. And Mike Sevilla is also a big fan of Anker products. So I got this. So this way I've got a backup, and this is a smaller one. so that I've got two, and sometimes you can loan one to somebody. You can't have enough juice. I can't emphasize enough when you're live tweeting or you're at conferences out and about, you simply cannot have enough juice. So the other thing, and I don't have them with me, but the other thing that's good to have, I go pull them, USB extenders. So if you don't have USB extenders, so a lot of us, when we're charging, and you have your iPod charger, your Droid charger, I get USB extenders so you can get another 3 to 6 feet, so you can get farther from your outlets and things like that.
Like more cord.
More cord is always better. More is better.
Someone was wanting to see what April is showing. I think I may have showed some stuff, and I did maybe switch the camera. So this is for Dan Cortez. I forgot. This is the Tide to Go pen. If you could not see, this is the lip gloss. It has the mirror and the light. For those who could not see, blinding you with science. It's amazing how often they're useful. A pen, and this is what I was showing you guys, is I have a jaw clip with sort of some non-slip grips that I used for clipping up cords, and I bought as many of these as I could. Like, I have a crate of them, and I always travel with like a dozen. So you were talking about cord extenders. See if I can pull some cords out of here. So I have been going through cords lately like crazy, and I'm spending too much on them. I've gone through about 4 this spring. Like, they seem to keep breaking on me. So this is a recent one I got at Target because there weren't other. The other choice was some sort of 6-inch braided leatherette item. And so now I've got, like, I feel like I could get a grill, make a grill out of this. I don't know.
It's fancy.
Well, it's pretty long, which I feel like too long, because I feel like I'm tripping over cords constantly. I feel like that's my big problem.
I don't think you can never have too much cord. Sometimes you're far away from an outlet. You can just tie it up if you've got too much, right? You can.
You're all about the power, Bart.
You gotta have juice.
Gotta have juice.
You do.
Oh, tell people what you made. Speaking of your own, like what you were drinking today.
Okay, so I invented a new drink, and I'm really pleased with both the taste and the results. And so if you go to Costco, you'll know they have great deals on the Pure Leaf tea, unsweetened black tea. Comes in 18-ounce bottles. They're about this big. This big. Yeah. And then Diet Mountain Dew, which comes in 36 packs. We go through, this household goes through a lot of Diet Mountain Dew, I have to say. And so on a lark, on the spur of the moment, I combined the Pure Leaf tea with the Mountain Dew, and it was delicious.
So I think what you need to understand is that Bart's always looking for juice. And that tells you a lot of what you need to know about Bart. Now, Bart, what do you have in terms of adapters? Like I usually carry a lot. So I have, I have a couple of plugs. I have like the white cube one. I have this one. Sometimes I travel with a third one. You never know when you're going to end up in a car that's not your car. And so I got a little car adapter. This is for my tripod. Like, I don't know where I'm going to use this nut ever, but I always have a spare nut. And because there's a little mesh pocket, and I was tired of it loose. Like, so I think you need a fake septum ring, like sometimes.
Yeah, no.
I feel like my bag is a little top heavy.
No, I don't need that. I'm pretty sure I don't need that. So I've got a bunch of different adapters, and I've learned the hard way, particularly with, like, if you're battery charging, there's certain adapters that will work, and there are certain adapters that will not, even though the USB fits in both of them just fine. You've got to have the heavier duty, and I don't know what the wattage is, but particularly to charge your backup battery, sometimes you've got to have the heavier duty base. And so obviously the base that comes with the charger is the way to go. And there's some number that you can look at to tell you if you got the right one. And I just don't know what it is. But I actually was using the wrong base on a charger one time, and it would not charge the charger. Even though it looks like it should work and everything fits, whatever it is, it wouldn't work. So I travel with a lot of different charger bases. I travel with 4 different charger bases.
Janet Kennedy from AtKids Social Health says she carries a multi-plug. And by the way, keep tweeting out the pictures and links to your products. A lot of people are doing that. And Shai saying she's got a lot of gadgets and tips that she wants to blab about.
Ooh, what's this? Mike just tweeted out something. What is that? Do you see what Mike just tweeted out?
Love this phone mic. This is a microphone that plugs.
Oh
Tony
my
never
God.
told me about this.
That is super cool.
Tony, it's like $150. So you may be a nerd for the gadgets. I'm going to tell you, I'm a gal on a gadget budget, but that is pretty cool. That is super cool. Now, do you have a microphone, Bart? No.
I've got 2 turntables and a microphone. Back anybody? Back references? Nobody? But no, here, I'm going to show you something. These are important. Look, wait. You can't, these portable little mini lights, these are super helpful. In fact, I use them for my lighting.
That's
here
a
on
book light. That's a book light.
And it has many different uses. I
You
use it
can
for show lighting.
shoplift those.
I love my
Sorry,
book.
I've recently become fascinated with the shoplifting subreddit. Don't steal things. That's wrong.
I don't understand what is it. So on Reddit, they tell you how to shoplift?
Yeah. There was all these great tips. I was like, man, I've been paying for things all my life. What a fool. Apparently, I learned at AAS that men will just buy you drinks if you tell them to, and you can just take things. I didn't know this about the world.
This is a
Bart
bad,
says no.
This is a bad path. We love you, April, and we want to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have an intervention after the show. They can Blab. They can give me the good advice. I want to show. This is my microphone for the show, and I don't have it plugged in today. I have sort of matching the laptop bag, like a bag for batteries and cords and like sundries that has like this good elastic, and it's felt, and I'm really into it because it seems like the right size. And once again, in these little.
What is that?
I love containers.
Is that
this
a
is
microphone?
my microphone.
How cool.
So this does not. So this is what the bolt is for. So if I want to like set it on something that has a screw, I don't know what would have a screw. I'm sure Mike or Tony would know, but they're not with us. And then it can like clip on. I feel like I wish I could show you, but it can sort of clip on to anything. It's got this little clip action. And then it holds up, or you could clip it on, to the top of your laptop up here, and you just attach it to your phone. There are little cables, and like turn it on, and it works great.
Is it Bluetooth or is it cord? Do you connect it to?
It connects with the cord. Here's the cord for it. So here's the cord.
USB.
There's buttons on it that maybe do something, but I don't know. This is, once again, I don't have my tech people here, so I probably couldn't say. So if you're a tech person who understands all the things that this cord does, feel free to tell me. I've never, played with it. But this all sort of clips up, folds down flat. This provides, I use this during most SPSMs for the last several months, just because it provides a better sound quality. And we zip it all up, and it goes back in the little, now I'm just throwing things everywhere, the gray bag. I've got a new toy. You want to see? You figured out book lights. We were talking about different ways to crack this nut. So a lot of you guys, once you figure out you want to do live streaming, what happens, and Bart can talk a little bit about his experience with this, is that everybody starts to be really aware of how their lighting affects how they look. And there are a couple of different ways to solve this. This is a ring light, and it is battery powered. So it just has a couple AA's, and I need to probably throw a couple of batteries in because I understand this burns through the batteries pretty quick. It has a little button, and it has 3 lighting intensities.
Do you have one on right now? Are you using one right now?
No, this is I have sort of a place in the house sort of all set up so that I have lighting that's coming from about 5 or 6 directions. But I'm going to set it up right now, and what this is designed to do. So remember, I told you my phone was going to sort of show you how it works with all the products, and I tried this out. This works great. Is it's designed to clip over your camera, so you see like your front camera, like if you were doing a video, it just sort of sits back there. It also doesn't interfere with the back camera. Or you can clip it onto you're seeing it sort of slide over my camera. You can clip it onto your laptop.
Ooh.
And you press that button. Let's see, here we go. So that is, so we talk about, Bart, like when we have guests come on, they start messing with their lighting, and almost invariably the lighting's a little weird. It's actually hard, I think, to do good lighting. This is probably too bright, and you notice that it's like really hot. I probably have too much light on me, and that's why I like that it has 3.
That's
Like
better.
this is
Yeah,
this is actually pretty good.
that's
And you
good.
know, you were talking about your neck lighting, you know, and you
I gotta
become
make sure.
really aware of it. The minute you start to do video, you become aware of all of these things. Once you watch a video, how your voice sounds, you know, how your hair looks. Like Bart, I think Amelia was commenting like the hair evolution of Bart Andrews, right?
I can do my hair a lot of different ways. Mm.
Yeah. What was it like? You've really only been doing this for about a year and a half.
Right. So what? But Tony, you and Tony helped me a lot. But one of the things that I had to learn the hard way was that I was trying to get enough light on my face for my ambient lighting, and so to get rid of the shadows, it would be too bright, and so then I'd be hot on my forehead or my hair. And then if I tried to get rid of that, and what I would do, and this is I'm just gonna fess up. I take tissue paper or napkin paper and shove it in my Japanese lanterns that I have around the room and that brown up the light a little bit. But if I make it too dark, then you can't see my face. And you were talking about the watch this, look what happens.
Okay.
Look.
Wow.
So now if I put my lamps back on, most of the shadows, I shouldn't have done that. Oop, there we go. So most of the, whoa. See the shadow there?
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't really notice this until you start doing it, and then you just really become aware of all of this stuff, right?
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But the nice thing about this is that the light's on my face and not on the background. So, and that was some of the challenges I had. So one of the things, there's constant tweaking going on with the lighting. And I thought I had it really good last week, but now I'm noticing that I've got neck shadow. So then I'll use my phone. Look. Yeah, look.
But you don't want too much light down here, because then
I like the green. I like the gangrene look on my neck. I think it's. What are you doing? That's freaky. See, but yeah, now I got neck shadow. So I think I need one of those rings, or I need to do something.
And this was, once again, something I ordered off of Amazon. I looked at different reviews. This was $24. So a lot of the stuff I have is really pretty inexpensive. Also because I tend to travel and break things or leave them in urns, or I'm the reason you can't have nice things. But so I just have this, and it's in, you would want to, the plastic on this is not terribly sturdy. I wouldn't throw it in a bag and check it. I would definitely carry it in your carry-on and be gentle with it. But microphone and a ring light, so that you have sound and light. I would really think about sound and light. So Bart wants lots of juice. I want good sound and light, generally speaking.
Now, what people don't know is that sometimes you've got to improvise. Like when you filmed the Richard McKeon Between Two Ferns. Do you remember this?
Yeah, you need to explain Between Two Ferns. This is an inside joke not everyone knows about.
Okay, well, isn't Zach Galifianakis? Doesn't he do who does the Between Two Ferns?
This is a Tony joke that I don't understand as well.
So Zach Galifianakis does this Between Two Ferns, and it's this really funny kind of mock interview show where he brings people on and interviews them, and the interview goes horribly wrong, and it's hysterical. And it's called Between Two Ferns because the two people are sitting between two ferns, like Dick Cavett style. We got two big plants on each side, and then we started calling it Between Two Ferns, and you were doing Richard McKeon at NASCAD.
We literally brought the ferns over, we were like.
And you had, and I don't know how to explain this, but she had the laptop set up on Dixie. What did you on a styrofoam cup?
It's totally. You should not do that it's too expensive. So I can't have nice things. So we used stacks of styrofoam cups. So that I want you to sort of see, because I should get a stand for this. But I use a certain number of Harry Potter books so that my camera is at the right height, and I just have a setup, and I plop the books down, and I plop my laptop on top of it. And with McKeon, it was these wobbly styrofoam cups, because you want the camera at the right height. Also.
Yeah, you don't want your nose, see, I've got, yours is nice. You don't want the nose, and with the nose ring, it's not as bad because it's hard. But so I think this camera's but if I set it up too high, then, because my camera, I'm just using my laptop camera. If I set it up too high, then it's I'm like that, and I don't really like that. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
Absolutely. So what other technology like assists do you have? Because I've got a bunch of props, but I have just a couple more things that were sort of techie.
Well, I do three. Well, I use three devices: my MacBook, my tablet, and my phone. And I'm going to be honest. I know now. When you live tweet, do you live tweet from your laptop or do you live tweet from your phone?
I live tweet from my laptop. I can't. My thumbs don't work. But you're also doing memes, like you're doing photo editing, like on your phone. Like this is what you at every conference we go to blow everyone out of the water. Are you doing that all from your phone?
I do that. I find the phone much easier. There are certain things that you can do with the laptop. There's some power there, but for the most part, I can do everything from my phone. Sometimes it's hard to know the scale of the image and how it's going to show up on other people's phones, but I'm much quicker. I like the phone. It's much quicker. I tweet and retweet much better with the phone. I don't know how you folks even do it with the laptop, to be quite honest. Amelia's got a picture of Amelia. Okay, Atos. Can we just say how amazing that Amelia Leto is? Because she is pretty impressive. So she's got a picture of the styrofoam cup MacBook Richard McKeon.
Oh, did she find it?
Yeah, she's got it.
Oh yeah, I'm in love with you.
And this is when I realized that I was completely in love with you and Tony. When I walked in and Richard McKeon is in front of you, and you've got the MacBook up on, and I'm like, what are these people
doing with Richard McKeon?
What are they doing? And then to see Richard loved being a part of that interview, and to see what was happening, I was like, I just had to be a part of that. It was the coolest thing ever.
He had fun. He totally had fun. So sometimes you have to improvise. We stack things, with cups. What you're really going for is that you want it to look good. You want your camera to sort of be right. You want it to sound good. You don't want to run out of battery. I'm also going to talk a little bit about this. This is, I think, Tony got this for me, I think, for my birthday last year. I don't think this was terribly expensive. I want to say it was like a $10 item, but I don't know. Maybe it was a $30. But once again, very inexpensive. I'm going to model my phone with this. Speaking of where you can get phones, and Noreen was awesome. She was totally busting it out on the AAS social media team. These are bendy. And what we learned was how to bend these to attach them to rails and like zoom in and out when we were periscoping or live streaming, and to hook up microphones so that even with just a phone and a long enough cord and access to the conference Wi-Fi, which I cannot emphasize enough, if you want to live stream, you need to get the Wi-Fi. You don't want to do that on your cell phone data. And this I just love. And you can sort of adjust the height of the camera, and you can attach it to things, or you can set it on a table or a chair. Tony has taught me how to rig, like, I'm sure there's like a technical camera term for this, like a boom or something, where like I'll lay it on a piece of paper and I'll slide the paper around if I need to adjust the angle so that it's not herky-jerky or handheld. When I was live streaming from the VA Brain Trust, I put this on the armrest of a rolling chair, and with this and the camera, and I just moved the chair around so that all of the camera work was smooth. And these are things that, everything is fitting in this. This is like a little Sephora freebie makeup bag. It is about 8 inches by 8 inches, and all of this stuff fits in there. And this is invaluable. Like, I just can't say enough. If you're going to live stream, you want one of these.
It was amazing. Noreen was a periscoping ninja, and there were times when the setup was quite creative, right? There was duct tape and other various things involved to get the camera in the angle. So so this is my favorite story from AAS. Can I tell my AAS story? So
yes, I'm
going to tell it. So, and it's a bit embarrassing, but the truth sometimes is. So we were at a session. I was sitting next to Carl, and at the next session, Carl Dunn, who is the most amazing storifier, will be live tweeting out he won't even know where we are, and he will storify tweets like he storified the SAMHSA meeting for Christmas.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
He's amazing. So Carl and I were sitting next to each other, and in the next session, the amazing Dr. Jonathan Singer was doing his workshop on teen suicide intervention, right? And Craig Bryan had the computational linguistics and the Facebook and the social media prediction. And I didn't know if anybody was going to be at Singers. I knew that lots of folks were going to Craig, and so Carl and I were having this discussion about, well, I don't want John to not have somebody there to live tweet his session. And so we had this huge debate. It was fascinating because here was the best part. Carl's like, well, I live tweeted it last year. What we could do is I could go back and pull the Storify and just like retweet stuff from last year's workshop, which I thought was pretty creative, to be quite honest. So we could actually kind of ghost live tweet, which is like reruns and nobody knows it's a rerun. And so I'm like, what do you think I should do, Carl? And Carl's like, well, what do you think you should do? So you've got two mental health professionals trying to sort out this problem that was going hysterical. So finally the guilt got to me. And so I'm like, I've got to go to John's, because if there's nobody there to live tweet him, I'm going to feel bad. So I go rushing into the session. I get down into the front. I sit down and I sit next to Noreen, who's got all of her Periscope equipment and everything.
She's like totally got it under, like she's off the chain. Anyway, go ahead.
She's all ready to go. So I sit down and all of a sudden I look and I see that Noreen's there and I'm like, oh. And the session is just starting. Like it's right at the start. So I look at Noreen and I look up at John and I'm like, oh, I don't really need to be here. I can actually go to the other session. And so I had this moment's hesitation, and then I realized I'm gonna go. And so I got all my stuff together and bolted from Dr. Singer's session. And as it's so funny because as I'm bolting out of the session to get over before the other one starts, Dr. Singer is like, no, folks, it's a really good workshop. He just has somewhere else he really needs to be.
Jonathan, Zing was a really good sport. So one of the problems that SPSM has, and it's a beautiful problem to have, is that there are so many of us now, and that we're often presenting it simultaneously, and us trying to figure out where to cover, who to be with. And the good news was, if Noreen is live streaming and then, we're live streaming and tweeting, then we get to see both sessions. So there was a lot. And then we even curated all those videos that we made. So I got to go back and watch stuff that I missed. Now, if only could have figured out how to get CEUs for that.
Now, right? Somebody wants, Pad Hopper wants to know the name of the bendy cell phone tripod thing that you have. What's the name of the brand on that, April?
Oh, I don't know for sure. Tony got it for me, and
look at it. Usually they put them or something.
Well, let me see. I'm so bad at this.
RIFG. That's my guess.
So I think this is fabulous. I love it to death. I thought that I had lost it, and we went back and even like at AAS 16, this is why I can't have nice things again. I leave things everywhere. That's why I have to be organized. If you ever wonder, like, Dr. Foreman seems a little bit anal retentive, I'm a space cadet. So everything has to have a place, and I have to scan and check for it. And this fits. What I love about this also is if you bend it, it just fits perfectly at the bottom of the bag.
Nice.
And that's why I picked, and if you wonder why I pick bags, it is I lay things out and I'm like, what is the densest I can do this? And then I make one bag that slips in and out of whatever I'm packing. And that's why. And it's fabulous. So 8 inches. You couldn't ask for more if you were a reasonable person. A couple of other tech items that I want to talk about. I want to talk about memory. We keep it classy here. I want to talk about memory. I love this because I don't lose it, and I love it so much. My best friend and I, my best friend Carolyn, I named my daughter after, and we send each other Wonder Woman stuff, and now my daughter too. It's a thing that we do, and I don't lose this because I used to have another one, and I would lose it, and I would put a tag on it. But this is a little jump drive. So the situation is, if you are doing a lot of presenting, I have a couple of data storage strategies that I want to talk about. And this is the only physical one that I have. Well, actually, I take that back. I have a backup drive. So every time before I travel, I have a little backup disk and I back up my laptop so that if I leave it in an urn in Orange County, I can't even believe that made it back to me by noon the next day, by the way. That I have everything that was on my desktop I can. To the extent that I can, I use things like Prezi or Periscope or things that store all of my content, Instagram, where it's on my account in a cloud somewhere. I don't pretend to understand computers. But occasionally you're going to want to put something on someone else's computer very occasionally. I show up, like at VA is a really good example. You can't use jump drives at VA, so I have it on the internet. Maybe you can plug in your computer, and this is what I used to plug in my computer. And this plugs into projectors, but it doesn't plug into closed-net TV. So very occasionally I've got to use, because I have a Mac, and it's a Windows, and it's a television setup, and I need to download, and maybe it doesn't have internet. I'm sort of always prepared for my content to go everywhere with the smallest tools I can have. Have a jump drive so you can download presentation, video, whatever, and just switch it from one thing to the other. This is a wonderful backup. They're so cute.
So I'm going to top you on that, because the jump drives are great. You are, but what I have is I've got Western Digital. This is a portable hard drive. And so this does not take up, it's super light. It doesn't take up much space. And this thing has got, I don't even know how many, like hundreds of gigabytes that you can back up your entire computer on this. So you can use it both as a computer backup, which is really helpful because sometimes things crash. Or you can just use it as a dump drive, and it holds everything. And if you do a lot of media, I don't know if you folks have run into this, but sometimes if you're doing lots of high resolution images, particularly if you're going to Pixabay or Unsplash, you can use up a lot of data really quick. And so I love this because it just holds everything. It works great, and you can back up a computer on it. It's Western Digital, and I forget how many gigabytes, but it's huge. You can back up your whole, it's an external hard drive.
And Bart, I will say this is something all of us do, sort of, we all have our own favorite things that we do. We don't all do the exact same media. So Bart does produce a lot better pictures. I'm doing video, but I'm always trying to make sure the video is sort of up in a cloud somewhere and not on my devices, because I lose my devices. Things happen to my devices. It's so embarrassing, but true. But Bart's doing a lot of picture, and Chris Maxwell too. There's several of you who are truly phenomenal. Des Stage is doing video and picture and everything else, right? And you want to make sure that you're picking things that fit your bag and that perform all the things that you need it to perform, right? And that you have it, like your trusty thing. I think that the stuff, life's too short to have shit that doesn't work, right?
And Tony has been really clear about this. Don't go cheap on your digital equipment. And so every time that I've gone with the cheaper product, I've regretted it. And so I know these things cost money, and you do need to take care of them, but it's better to get better equipment in the end. For the most part, it's worth it, because get stuff that works and that's going to last you. I think that's real. I went through a couple of digital backup batteries before I switched over to Anker, and the Anker has been rock solid. And it was a little more expensive than some of the other products, but I think there's just some things that it's better to put a little extra money into it, because you're often getting what you pay for, right?
And it's really about reading the reviews. Like, I have the $10 Anker battery. I've got a ring light, but I read reviews, and there are times when you need to spend more. There are times when it's, I spent $20 on this damn iPhone cord. I'm not happy. Really, I want to start ordering them in bulk, where you can get them $5 a cord and just go through them like toilet paper. Just get the regular iPhone ones. There are ways that you can do that. I'm probably going to switch to that. Like, you've got to just know yourself, know what you tend to lose. Speaking of lose, a couple of things that I have that I love. These are little things, and then we're going to go to non-tech accessories, and we're going to talk about your pocket square and a few other sort of style choices. This clips cords out of the way and clips it to devices. These things are also ties. I know that I mentioned these and the clips, but if you've got sort of cords everywhere when you're streaming and you're going to be sitting down for several hours, for me, because I'm clumsy, it makes, and I lose things, it's helpful to sort of tie them up. That doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean, right?
I do.
And so, Bart. Also,
what did I do? I didn't do anything.
I also always forget. I used to never remember to pack this. This is like goes with your adapter on your Mac cord, so that your cord can be smaller or shorter. So I started carrying this as well. And I have a couple more things before we go to accessories and sort of goofy style items. I always travel with at least one and usually two knives. I just can't emphasize enough that maybe it's because I'm from the Midwest, but I feel like I always need a good tool. And so I have like a file, a small knife, and this is like a little girl, like it's pink even, it's a Swiss Army knife. And this also has scissors in it so that I can manage things, cords, papers, things like that I'm dealing with, packaging sometimes that I'm having to open without wrecking my nails, which Bart may not have this problem, but I always carry at least one knife. I also have a baby Spyderco, so I have small knives that I particularly like. And you talked about like lighting. Sometimes if you're looking for outlets or if you're plugging things in or setting things up, you have to do some climbing around. And so I have the lipstick light, but I also just have a little light to shine in, like if I'm crawling under or setting up equipment, especially if I'm presenting also. Like I've ended up needing this when you can't see. And it's a silly thing, but if you don't have it and you need it, then you realize how clever it is that you've got it in your bag. Silly things that I'm always happy to have. And a knife and a little light are among those silly little things, right?
Yep.
You have any things like that, Bart?
Well, I strongly recommend people. I carry a lot of extra earbuds with me because earbuds, like power cords, go bad or you lose them. Those sorts of things. So I carry a pouch that has 2 or 3. The other, some of the, and this is true, but some of the fancier gyms actually give you free earbuds when you're traveling. Like when we were in Las Vegas for NatCon, they gave you free earbuds. So I'll grab a couple of those. I always keep extra earbuds with me because when they go bad, you need them. I like the better ones. I like the Apple. The Apple earbuds are actually my favorite.
Yeah, and having earbuds with a microphone so that will do some noise canceling. If you need, like we wear these for this because it just works so much better.
Well, I'll never forget, and I learned this when I was at the Zero Suicide Summit in Atlanta. I had packed everything except earbuds, and we had a show that night. And so it's like 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 in downtown Atlanta, and I'm in a Walgreens looking for earbuds with microphones, right? And I ended up with these. The only ones they had were pink. They were these bright pink, and they were outrageously expensive, and they were horrible earbuds. So I never want to be in that position again. So I always have at least 2 or 3 earbuds with microphones because you've got to have a little checklist and think about all the things before you go, because some of the things that you can get on the go, but sometimes you're in a place where you can't get the stuff that you need. So you've got to be pretty intentional. Make sure you've got a list of all the things that you need for the activities or activities that you may be involved in, because sometimes you're going to end up in an interview or doing a show and you want to be ready for it.
And we're gonna and here's just some other style points, and then I promise everyone like only 5 minutes of makeup, but this is something that I had to learn and look up. That's technical, and I just for folks, things that I carry. Misha Kessler, I love you. And Misha, this is the flag that Misha took to base camp at Mount Everest. And so when I talk about SPSM chat, I have this in my bag, and I like to talk about it. And he gave me the flag, so I get to talk about it. Which is fabulous. Part of the Doc Foreman brand are the is sort of the Groucho glasses. So every time I find Groucho glasses, that you might see airport pictures or things like that. Ooh. Because people know. So I have like, because I found them in color. So I have a couple of pairs, and they're great for sort of comedic selfies. I lent these out for people to take selfies with. For SPSM, we've used pirate hats before. I also and I turned out that these are children's sized, and that mine may have a child-sized head, I admit. So I always travel anywhere because it's SPSM, like a bunch of eye patches, just to do a silly picture that is really themed with the brand of the channel that I'm representing or that I'm using. If your brand may be something different, and so I'm a little silly. So we have some of those things. So I always have a few eye patches, especially since I get eye makeup on the eye patch. And then finally, last thing, and this is what I meant, that like why you should always have a pen, not only to jot down notes, like what hashtag you're using, or if you're it's good to be able to take notes. So a lot of you have seen the Doc Foreman business card. And there are a couple of things that I do that I think are really important that these were sort of Tony coached me to do. Number one, ooh. I always have blank cell phone space to write my number on. Writing something on a card increases the chance that people will keep it. Additionally, I might write notes like something I want them to do for me or remember, or if I have just said, hey, you don't know me, but I've just live streamed and I've tweeted and I've curated, and you can find it right here, and I've written it down for you. You were fabulous. If you want your content or the content that I made about you, I want you to be able to get it. And you write it, and I've left half of the card blank so that I can write notes down. This card is super thick. It's a little bit more expensive than the regular card, but it is designed to actually end up in something where people keep it, and it has my social media information on it.
Nice.
So it's really designed for someone to find me in social media. And I purposefully don't put business affiliations or things like that because I might be representing different people. And I can always put who I'm representing here. And I find that this is a really good for once you've done a bunch of content to communicate to people what you've done so that they can find it later. It's something I recommend, and have plenty of business cards. And if you can, have business cards with space to write on.
It's good. Those cards are absolutely beautiful. And folks are just so amazing on SPSM. So folks are tweeting out all kinds of cool things. Shai tweeted out the USB plug-in that she uses that has 4 slots. So you plug in the wall, you can charge 4 devices, which is great because if you've only got one outlet, often you got a lot of things that you need to charge. And Dr. Mike Sevilla also tweeted out the Belkin 3-outlet surge plug. And actually, somebody was telling me that at the hotel we were at, somebody's phone got fried because their charger didn't have a surge protector in it. Right? You're laughing.
Yeah,
it happened. So that
I'm laughing because someone said, "Please put the eye patch back on," and you're just so cute.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
I loved your cards. Your cards are adorable. Those are super cool. I'm trying to, as I'm following along, the other thing, and I know this is not tech related, but when I travel with a lot of non-perishable food items, like dried figs, nuts, and Cliff Bars and things like that, because when you're on the go all day, you don't know when if you're live tweeting at a conference and you're live tweeting the right way, you don't have a lot of time and space in your day. And so you've got to make sure that you've got healthy food with you all the time so that if you need to eat in between sessions or when you're at a session, that you've got stuff ready to go that's non-perishable. So I travel with a lot of really healthy non-perishable food items. And I actually keep a bag packed all the time, and I keep it replenished because you never know when you're going to get to eat again. I know that's not uncommon. I think at AAS, I don't think I had one lunch break the whole time I was. Did you have a lunch break the whole time you were there?
I had to take a couple, like if you, the intensity of it, you start to get fried so many days in. And so there was a couple, like I think after I'd done like all the presenting I was going to do, I went and laid on the floor in a quiet room and had a lunch and then laid there. But mostly I worked through a lot of meals because if you're really networking and really producing content, I think that I always travel with lots of cashews is my thing, and a lot of gum because so I'm like chewing to like think. If you see me chewing cud like a cow, it's because I'm chewing gum because I need to think.
Folks loved your cards, but those business cards are super styling, by the way, just absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Very
impressive.
You. Byte Cheney's Hands was talking about the cloud. Let's talk about the cloud a little bit because I do back up everything on the cloud, but I've learned some things about the cloud.
I don't know what the cloud is.
You must have you don't have the iCloud? Your phone has the iCloud.
Sure I do, but
so the iCloud backs up everything you're doing. You can back up different apps. Almost every app lets you back up to the iCloud. Most are like photos, like all my photos, all my memes, all my images are backed up to iCloud. The iCloud is great, but if you're moving between devices, the iCloud is not simultaneous. And if you're not on Wi-Fi or if you have a slow link, if I've got an image on my phone and then I go over to my iPad or my MacBook, iCloud can take forever for everything to update and you have access to everything from each device. So it's not real time. And so you can move. The cool thing about iCloud is you can move back and forth between devices and in theory get your stuff. But if you are working on an image and you have to switch devices, it can take some serious time for that all to sync up, and it doesn't happen in real time. So I love iCloud, but often you got to be aware that it takes some time.
Be prepared. Be prepared. This is our last couple minutes. I'm going to take you through the home stretch for anybody who's doing camera makeup. And if you're a boy or a girl, you will end up hopefully doing some good camera stuff, and you'll do some camera makeup at some time. And I've got it down to science. I had a horrible experience of, I usually check bags because I sort of, my bags are heavy and it's easy. Like, instead of trying to overhead bin whatever, I check bag. It's just what I do. But I got caught without makeup and then looking like hell. So then having to figure out how to get the same quality makeup from a drugstore in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma is not easy. Couple of things. I got this at Sephora. It is like powder, and it's very, very finely milled powder. It's not cocaine, I swear. And it goes into the brush. The brush opens up. And this is Makeup Forever, and it is really for photography. It is like super fine. It does have a white flash, and so if you use some makeup with minerals in it, if it's got white residue, it can appear a little bit white on camera, but you could fill this with any color makeup. You want a very finely milled powder. You just do. It will look better on camera. One of the things that I really love, and I think that especially if you are a lady who wears makeup and you do camera stuff, there are lots of versions of these. I just have a super small one, and it has color corrector, it has concealer, and it has foundation, and it has a yellow powder. I want you to see that, and it has a yellow powder. And I can put on a full face of foundation and then dust myself with a camera ready powder, and it's super tiny. If Desiree stage makes me cry, and I've got to go up and do a presentation or do any kind of live streaming, because sometimes I'm moist, and that's how we handle that. The thing to do these days is to highlight stuff, and so I have like something that will do a very basic highlight. These are little things, but I'm telling you. Like having them so that you can do a full face. If I needed to, I could do a full face. And so I have a gel liner to do gel line eyes. And a lot of these are sample sizes that I got for free or for cheap. I have this Better Than Sex mascara is like the best effing mascara. If you don't have eyelashes, like I don't have eyelashes, very small powder brush, lip oil because your lips get chapped, an eyeliner brush to get it right. You might not use the same things. I have like the world's most perfect nude lipstick. Charlotte Tilbury's Bitch Perfect is awesome for me, at least. And then I have like another Bobbi Brown that's like sort of neutral. So I have several sort of very neutral things. I can do a very neutral, very basic eye and face that I can get in front of a camera. If everything else, if I get rained on, if I weep, if I show up, with only the clothes on my back and what I have in my purse, I still have all of my social media equipment, and I have enough to do a full face so that I can do something in front of a camera if I need to. And super important, I know we're getting the last couple minutes. I want to talk about your pocket square. Additionally, you're always going to see sort of the Doc Foreman look. Tony and I did a lot of research into like what makes you look authoritative if you're a lady, which is hard to do sometimes. I'm more likely than any male guest to have my degree demoted it's amazing. So collar of authority, to get scarves or necklaces that are bigger or that are more pricey looking, whether they are or not, it's how it looks, and put stuff around that neck area. So I always travel with a scarf on the plane that if I have to sort of look sort of authoritative at the conference, I have a scarf, I can do a full face of makeup, I can show up on a camera, and I look relatively like Doc Foreman, and I also have a silly glass. Like these are things to create images very quickly that are consistent and have a brand. We talked about when you started doing this that I was like, you must do a pocket square with your pocket square thing, and I was very adamant about that. I'm wondering if you can tell that story quickly.
Yeah, actually showed up for a show one time and I didn't have a pocket square on, and you got violent. And
I needed it.
the fear that you instilled in me. I don't even know. At this point, I don't. I feel like I'm naked if I don't have a pocket square on. And so I've also fallen in love with color. So color is absolutely amazing. I love to. What's really interesting, at first the pocket squares had to match exactly the tie, which is how people often start with pocket squares. And now I don't want always to match exactly. So finding different contrasts with colors. And so Chris was making fun of me because I was packing the other day to go to Rockville, Rockville, Maryland. And I had I was only going to be there a couple of days, and I had 10 pocket squares with me. And the reason I had so many pocket squares is because you never know. I'm thinking I'm going to like this color now, but the next morning when I'm actually putting the outfit together, I may not be feeling that color. So I'll often try 2 or 3 different colors, see how it feels, see how it matches my mood or what I'm going for. And now I usually travel with about 10 or 15 pocket squares everywhere I go, which I know sounds different, but I love my...
It's a little needy, and that's like, I travel with a couple things, and I usually pack with a color story in mind about how things are going to look, because now it's going to be on camera. And I think Bart, and we're going to do final thoughts and wrap up, because you got to get to SPSM Unpacked on Blab to like chat about your swag. But absolutely, this is at Doc Foreman. You know, we're just really talking about how you can look and sound like a personable professional when you're doing social media anywhere that you go, with relatively contained kits of things that are standard and reliable and that work with what you do. My final thought: have things that work well and reliably, and if it doesn't work, get rid of it and get something that does. That's my final thought. Final thoughts from you.
Final thoughts. One, every time that you talk about this stuff, April, I learn from you. You've taught me so much over the last couple of years. You're such an expert at this stuff. The other thing, I mean, Tony was talking about this, and Chris Maxwell and I were talking about this, the concept of exformation. Have you been introduced to this concept of exformation?
Tell me more.
So exformation is all the things that we say without saying them, right? And so there's, so I think that it might be the Z, who is that guy? I'm trying to think of his name, but Maxwell knows his name. Anyway, but all the things that we say without saying anything. And so one of the things, final things for the show, the one thing we haven't said is how much we love our audience. You guys are absolutely amazing.
That's true.
And it's really important that everything that you see that we're doing, we're thinking about you, and we love you guys, and we're so glad that you join us on these Sunday evenings. You make it special, and I love all the help you gave each other on the chat, and I just want to say thank you. So that's my closing thought.
And I think thank you is a wonderful closing thought. We're so glad that you're with us. Please go over and do the Blab. Please do tweet out pictures of what's in your bag, links to your products. Hopefully the Blab video, there'll be more of you discussing that as you go through this week. We all benefit from what you guys have to share with us. Have a great week. Take care.
Good night, guys. Happy Sunday. Go to Unpacked.